Call to order. Adoption of agendas. Councillor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor DeRose that council adopt the agendas for the meeting of June 4th, 2019.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Mayor's report. Over the weekend, I had the opportunity to attend several great events in our city. On Friday, Councillor Neal and I were at Henderson's Pharmacy as they celebrated their 80th anniversary. Congratulations to John and Kathy Henderson and their whole team. We are very thankful to have you in our community. On Saturday, Glow Hair and Beauty hosted the grand opening of their new location on Front Street. We wish everyone the best on this new venture and venue. And finally, on Sunday, Councillors Hanley, Sentence, and Neal and I were privileged to participate in the Royal Canadian Legion's annual Decoration Day ceremony. Thank you to everyone who organizes this important event every year to honor those we've lost. Next Wednesday, June 12th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., the Thorold Senior Citizens Association and Thorold Age Friendly Committee will be hosting an information fair at the Ontario Paper Thorold Senior Centre. A light lunch will be available for purchase between 11:15 and 12:15 p.m., followed by Senior of the Year presentation and mural dedication at 12:15. Everyone is welcome to attend. On Wednesday, June 19th, the Thorold Horticultural Society will host their annual Rose and Flower Show at 6:30 p.m. at Holy Rosary Hall. Join the Garden Club for refreshments and take in the beautiful arrangements and help them celebrate their 90th anniversary. On Saturday, June 22nd, the Thorold Community Pool will open for the season with limited hours until the July 1st weekend. You can register online now for swimming lessons or stop by City Hall to purchase your season swim pass. Full details, go to the municipal website at www.thorold.ca. And that's the end of the mayor's report. There's no regional council update. Adoption of the minutes. General Committee meeting minutes of May 14th, 2019. Councillor Decker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Sentence, that the General Committee meeting minutes of May 14th, 2019 be hereby adopted.
Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Council and General Committee meeting minutes of May 21st, 2019. Councillor DeRose.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Sentence that the regular Council and General Committee meeting minutes of May 21st, 2019 be hereby adopted.
Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, I call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Are there any declarations of interest? Seeing none, there's no public meetings or civic recognition. Presentations. Joey Hewitt and Frank Papillo, Thorold representatives on the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee, regarding the introduction of Committee Accessible Business Award launch and committee work plan. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Ugolini and members of council. We are the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee serving the communities of Lincoln, West Lincoln, Pelham, Thorold, Niagara-on-the-Lake, and Grimsby. Our role is to assist council and staff in creating an accessible community by ensuring compliance with the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities, better known as OADA. We work with communities to educate them on accessibility issues. To that end, today we're here to announce the launch of this term's We Are Accessible campaign. The campaign recognizes local organizations and businesses who have made efforts to provide accessibility for people with disabilities in their community. The campaign involves volunteer GAAC committee members who actively are canvassing their local municipalities and conducting checklist assessments. These assessments include reviewing exterior and interior checklist access along with customer service experience for people with disabilities. Through the assessment process, businesses and organizations scoring 80% or higher will be awarded We Are Accessible decal to display in their location or store. We ask for council's support of this initiative and challenge that if you identify organizations and businesses in your area that should be acknowledged as part of this campaign, please acknowledge them as you feel fit. We welcome any comments and questions at this time. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Joey or Frank? Go ahead, Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know that I have a question, but I do have the honor of sitting on the committee with Joey and Frank, and we are very excited about this initiative. So in my hopes to rather ask a question, but to get council to talk to some local business owners that you know, like they said, and hopefully we can draw more attention to a demographic that our local companies are missing out on not being accessible, and we had the opportunity to educate them, and then that can become known to the public that they are accessible. So I think that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for the great work you do in our community and throughout the Niagara region. And we'll definitely work to help support that initiative. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Motions of support. City of Thorold. Councillor Neal, read Bill 108.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Before I read the dissertation here, I just want to make a comment on what's happening with the provinces. Bill 108 is dismantling the local aspect of all that we do in our communities. And I, for one, am appalled that they would do this. So therefore, moved by myself, second by Councillor Kenny, that whereas the legislation that abolished the OMB and replaced it with the LPAT received unanimous all-party support, and whereas all parties recognize that local governments should have the authority to uphold their provincially approved official plans, to uphold their community-driven planning, and whereas Bill 108 will once again allow an unelected, unaccountable body make decisions on how our communities evolve and grow. And whereas on August 21st, 2018, Minister Clark once again signed the MOU with the Association of Municipalities of Ontario and entered into a legally binding agreement recognizing Ontario municipalities as a mature, accountable order of government. And whereas this MOU is enshrined in law as part of the Municipal Act, and recognizes that as public policy issues are complex and thus require coordinated responses, the province endorses the principle of regular consultation between Ontario and municipalities in relation to matters of mutual interest. And whereas by signing this agreement, the province made a commitment to cooperating with its municipal governments in considering new legislation or regulations that will have a municipal impact. And whereas Bill 108 will impact 15 different acts, Cannabis Control Act 2017, the Conservation Authorities Act, Development Charges Act, Education Act, Endangered Species Act 2007, Environmental Assessment Act, Environmental Protection Act, Labor Relations Act 1995, Local Planning Appeal Tribunal Act 2017, the Municipal Act of 2001, Occupational Health and Safety Act, Ontario Heritage Act, Ontario Water Resources Act, the Planning Act, the Workplace Safety and Insurance Act of 1997. Now there be it hereby resolved that the City of Thorold oppose Bill 108, which in its current state will have a negative consequences on community building and proper planning. And be it further resolved that the City of Thorold call upon the Government of Ontario to halt the legislative advancement of Bill 108 and to enable fulsome consultation with municipalities to ensure that its objectives for sound decision-making for housing growth that meets local needs will be reasonably achieved. And that it further resolved that a copy of this motion be sent to the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Christine Elliott, Deputy Premier, the Honourable Steve Clark, Minister of Municipal Affairs, the Honourable Andrea Horvath, Leader of the New Democratic Party, and all MPPs in the Province of Ontario. And be it further resolved that a copy of this motion be sent to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario and to all Ontario municipalities for their consideration.
Thank you, Councilor Neal. Is there anyone who wants to speak on that? Very important motion, and this was the one we pulled from last meeting, and thank you for bringing it forward tonight, Councilor Neal. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we'll get that off this evening. City of Thorold, Councilor Neal, regarding ash trees.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. It's moved by myself, second by Councilor Kenny, that the correspondence received from the town of Fort Erie at its council meeting of May 21st, 2019, requesting the region of Niagara, in consultation with the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority, to develop interim measures to protect the designation and definitions of woodlands and to address the removal of affected trees in all woodlands covered by the Regional Tree and Forest Conservation Bylaw, prior to the finalization of the bylaw revisions be received and supported.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Statement by councilors. Councilor Hand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had a couple items, but you leave them for a later date. But one item I wanted to bring up, I hadn't had an opportunity to talk to Jason Simpson, but in regards to the trash bins that are located at 7-Eleven, they're next door to a residential area. At one time, they were located on Claremont Street on the north side of the building, next to the fencing where the Canadian Corps is. They've been recently, or in the past now, moved to right next to a residential homeowner. Smell, garbage, blowing debris. They come and pick up the debris at 5:30 in the morning and that stuff, and literally bang the trash bin on the ground right beside the residence. He's been after me for a while, so I'm asking that through council or through the mayor to Mr. Simpson, that I haven't put enough on his plate over the time. No, but anyways, in regards to, and I never had the opportunity, but do we have a bylaw in place, or could we put a bylaw in place as to where these type of trash receptacles are located? Because I don't think it's acceptable or should be next to a residential area. And I bring it up because a homeowner tried to do due diligence himself and negotiate with the proprietor to no resolve. And their reasoning was that they needed the 2 parking spots at the building on the north side where the trash bins previously were. And my reasoning was, well, the trash bins where you have them now take up 2 parking spots, why can't they park against the fence? To me, it would make more sense to park the vehicles. And I'll tell you, it's not because of that. And I've talked to individuals, it's because the employees that work there didn't like the fact where they're allowed to smoke at work on the back steps. If you go to 7-Eleven where they sit in the morning, the trash bins were there and there's bees flying around and flies flying around. So let it not be a nuisance to your employee, let it be a nuisance to a taxpayer as a resident. So through you, Mr. Mayor, if I could ask that, I'm not sure if we do have a bylaw or that a report could come forward in regards to the placement of trash bins in regards to the interference and a nuisance to a residential atmosphere.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I am familiar with the situation, and I've spoken to the resident as well. At this point in time, a bylaw does not exist that prohibits the location of the garbage facilities on the property. It's completely a civil matter at this point in time. As to whether or not we could pass such a bylaw, it's something I could look into and would be happy to provide a report.
Could you do that? And the question that I have regarding that is, do those bins need to be fenced in? If you see a lot of businesses, you know, where they have their bins, they make sure that they're properly fenced in and they're not open. Is that another part of what we would look at, or is that a part of something that should be in place?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, typically when those facilities, the garbage bins are fenced in, that's a requirement of the development of the property at the time that the property is developed. At the time that the 7-Eleven was developed, I'm not familiar with what the requirements were at that time. But it's something that we could look into to see if we could implement such a thing.
Thank you.
If I could just on a further note, in regards to that enclosure, we did have a situation with Cobblestone Gardens with the neighbor, and they did build an enclosure beside it, but you know, if that resident had trash bins in his backyard, it would be a bylaw infraction and that stuff, if he had trash blown around and was unkempt and messy. So if we could figure that out, because if it was related to the residential guy, and if he had 2 trash bins in his backyard with flies and debris, I'm sure with our bylaws, we would be enforcing it. So I appreciate Jason's effort, but in all reality, business sense tells me that they're located in the wrong area, and that for a person to have to go through civil litigation to alleviate it is not the route that I think he should have to take. So I appreciate everything he can do, if he can.
Thank you. Notice is a motion. Seeing none, we'll resolve into general committee. Call to order. Are there any declarations of interest? Councilor Hanley?
When we get to, not discussion reports, but consent reports, I do have to declare it then. It would be under item PD 2019-12, an employee of Hydro One.
Okay. Number D, PDS 2019-12, so we'll hold that and we'll vote on that separately, okay, Councilor Hanley?
Yes.
Is there anyone, so that's from, declaration, so calls for reports to be brought forward from consent. So we'll bring that one forward, Councilor Hanley. Is there any other ones? I have one to bring forward, PBS 2019-14, Port Robinson West Phase 1 Lions Neighborhood Plan Proposal Award. Okay? So what we'll do is, I need a mover for A, B, C, E, and G. Councilor Wilson. So we're gonna vote on A, B, C, E, and G. All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Okay, we're gonna bring forward now PDS 2019-12. Artisan Ridge Phase 1 subdivision, Hydro 1 easements. Councilor Hanley declared a conflict on this item. Is there anyone else who wants to speak to this item? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, carried. You're just relaxed over there. F, PDS 2019-14. Oh, I brought this one forward. Port Robinson West Phase 1 Lions Neighborhood Plan Proposal Award, and the reason I brought this forward is to the Director of Planning and Building. In your discussions with the award winner, can we please ask that this neighborhood plan be completed within 6 months?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, we had intended to do so. May I advise, though, that the same landowner has appealed our comprehensive zoning bylaw, and part of their platform is to request higher density development and lots in that area that the plan addresses. And so it would be defeating, if we expedite this, defeating the purpose of their appeal. So I just want to advise you of that. But yes, we can expedite.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. There are no discussion reports. We need to go in camera, but before we go in camera, we're going to resolve back into regular council to do council committee and board meeting minutes. Minutes to review for information purposes. Councilor Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Sentence, that council receive and file the minutes of the Committee of Council Local Boards as presented.
Any discussion on these? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we're going back into general committee. I need a motion to go in camera. Can I have a motion? Councilor Wilson. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So we're gonna go in camera now to, do we have the thing that I have to read? Okay, so we're going in camera to discuss the City of Thorold representative to the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority, its identifiable individuals. Okay. So we'll revert into committee room 1, please.